Hey circuit riders, welcome back. As I'm sure you know, there are a lot of maintenance things that go along with owning an RV. I have several different lists that I use for regular maintenance things that I do about every quarter. Recently, we wanted to sanitize our fresh water system. We have never done it before, and some people say that you should do it every 6 months or once a year, so we've been on the road for a little over a year, and we figured it was time to do it. Now, even though I am mostly in charge of all the RV maintenance and keeping track of what needs to be done, I have never done a how-to video about RV maintenance. How-to videos are not really my thing, but I got so frustrated with this process that I decided I had to make this video just for myself, and I'm hoping that it might help some other Vanleigh Vilano owners as well, because there are plenty of other YouTube videos about how to sanitize your freshwater system for other brands of RVs. But if your RV system doesn't look like theirs, it's not terribly helpful. So I got out my Vanleigh manual to look up the instructions, and I found the instructions, but they just did not make sense to me when I read them. So then I went to look for an online manual, thinking that maybe there was some updated instructions, and I found a different set of instructions from Vanleigh, which still didn't totally make sense. I couldn't match up what they were saying to the actual buttons and valves on my rig. So then I went to the Vanleigh Owners Facebook page, which is always a great resource for getting advice. Several people there said, throw out that manual, here's how you really do it. But some of their methods made sense and some did not. I got so frustrated that there wasn't an accurate, easy set of instructions for my particular rig, a 2020 Vanleigh Vilano, that I decided I just wanted to have a video for me to refer back to the next time we do this. So I took all the pieces of instructions and advice I found and put it into a process that worked for us. And I hope it's helpful for you too. So here we go. Underneath your rig is an overflow pipe for when you're filling your fresh tank. It will overflow when it's full, and right next to it is the valve shutoff. So when you're emptying your fresh tank before you sanitize, open this up and make sure that your fresh water tank is completely empty. And when that's done running, then shut it back off. Our next step is to turn off the water to the rig. We have a Y jack here on the post. I'm going to turn off the water going to our fresh hose, and then I'm going to come over here to our wet bay and close off this valve. I'm going to close this one too. This is to a spray hose to the front of the rig, but this is our main fresh water source into the city input. So that's off, the post is off, and we're going to go inside and bleed all of the lines. Shower's already out. Bathroom is out. And don't forget to also bleed your outside shower if you have one. Turn those on.
Yeah, remember to shut it back off.
Shouldn't be too much in there, but we're just gonna bleed the water out of the lines. Okay, make sure you shut that back off.
Because it'll just turn on in the bay
Right.
when you... and if you want, here's the low point drain.
What are those for?
It's the same thing. It's actually the lowest point in the
Plumbing system. I guess you could bleed out all the lines here instead of turning on the faucets, right?
Well, you want the faucets open so there's not a vacuum formed.
Okay.
So the air flows through. See?
Okay.
I barely even
Okay.
dripped.
Did you close it again?
Nope, but I'm going to.
All right, closed. Next thing is we are going to unhook the end of the hose from our Y jack. Make sure your hose has no kinks in it. Stretch it nice and wide.
Yeah, and I'm just getting some of the extra water out.
Yeah, you can also use a shorter siphon hose directly from the wet bay, but we don't have one, so we're just going to use our fresh hose, and that way we can sanitize the hose as well.
Yeah, so what you were saying is that's a little bit tight there.
So we'll take our quick connect off so we have a good wide pour in there.
I need to... This doesn't seem very quick. It is connected though.
It's not a quick unconnect.
I need 3 hands here. And then set these off to the side in the grass where you'll forget them. All right,
Okay.
This is what we're doing?
Before we put our bleach in there, we need to, that's a nice wide hole, that's good.
Yeah, but it's narrow there, so you still have to
Okay, we'll hold it.
be mindful.
Before we pour bleach in our hose, we're going to take the water filter out of the wet bay because we don't want bleach water going through our water filter.
Then
I believe that all Vilanos have this internal water filter in the wet bay. Yours may not if it's an older version. So if you don't have one of these, you obviously don't need to do this. You can just use your outside filter, but just make sure you're not passing bleach or solution through any water filters while you're doing the sanitizing process.
be a little bit careful that you take this off the correct way, because this is a little, not fragile, but it's you can break it with human force without too much effort.
It'll be full of water.
All right.
We're just going to take the internal filter out. This would be a great time to replace your filter if you haven't done it recently, which we have, so we're going to leave that new one in there.
So you're done now. Could you also put the bleach in here is one of the other tricks?
Some people say that you can put straight bleach right in here and then screw it back in and the water will flow through. I'm not going to do that because I don't like the idea of raw bleach sitting in this plastic even for a few minutes. I'd rather run it through the hose, but we have heard that that is an alternate way if you don't want to run bleach through your hose.
You're talking about could it be undiluted?
Right, right.
And this way we also sanitize the hose. All right, so that goes back on.
So you don't want to dump that water out? You're just going to leave it in there? Guess doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just going to hand tighten this on.
Okay. All right, while you are in your wet bay, we want to bypass the water heater because we also don't want bleach water running through the water heater. So this red valve right there on the right has a bypass. So we're going to turn that from normal to bypass, and that way when the tank fills, it will bypass the water heater.
This went really hard when I did it last night, but now
we had to use a wrench the first
now
time.
it's loosened up. Yeah. You still want to be careful.
Okay, and then we're going to put our other valve from city to tank fill, because we're going to fill the freshwater tank with our bleach solution. And again, might turn hard.
And this is changing a series of valves that's hidden behind here.
Now going back to the Vanleigh manual instructions, they say to add 1/2 cup of bleach for every 15 gallons of tank that you have. We have a 70-gallon tank, so I'm adding 2 1/4 cup of bleach. We are going to pour it directly into the hose, undilute it, and then we're going to hook it right back up to the water source and flush that out.
Cup 1.
1 cup. All right, so we're holding our funnel. We're going to pour this right into the end of the hose. Again, this is not what the Vanleigh manual says to do, but people on Facebook say this is the easiest way to get the bleach into your tank. Guess we needed a smaller funnel.
We have too much water still in the line. Must be. Right. Yeah, the funnel wasn't really helping, so I'm just going to pour it slowly and see what happens.
We made sure that the line was clear of water. Yeah, that seems to be going.
Yeah, I think the funnel is actually getting in the way.
Right. Still easier with the quick connect off though.
Yeah, because it's a wider mouth. All right, there's roughly 1 cup.
Now do another 1 1/4.
Whoops. You know what?
You gotta hold it up.
You gotta have it up in the air, otherwise it'll come back out.
Make sure you hold it up in the air so that it doesn't fall back out.
I'm not sure this is the better way then. It might really be easier to put it in that
The water filter.
yeah, and then just quickly run it through.
But then you're not sanitizing the hose.
Yeah, it's true. This is a little messier and,
It is.
and prone to spilling.
I also like that if it's in the hose and you... No. 1 1/4 cups, honey.
That's 1 cup. I'm making it.
That's like a 1/2 cup. Okay.
Yeah, but some of that spilled before.
Okay, all right. Don't lick it off your...
That was a mosquito. Damn it. I wasn't licking bleach. No, you know what? This doesn't work because this isn't empty. This is it's filling up this hose and overflowing.
we can force that bleach farther down the hose.
Not if there's stuff in there.
So guys, it's not actually working for us to put 2 cups of bleach into the hose because there's not enough room in the hose. So we've put 1 cup in here. So we're gonna pour our other cup into the water filter canister like was the other option. That way it'll be half and half. And there is some water in there, so it will be diluted a little bit, and it will only be for a minute or two.
This is good. We're kind of A/B testing both techniques, and this is the easier one.
Oh, I thought you would leave the water in there to dilute the bleach.
There's too much water in there.
Okay. We're gonna pour this second half of the bleach right into the container here.
And we lost a little bleach, so.
Yeah.
But there's no reason this should be an issue, actually.
Okay. Well, as long as you don't let it sit in there.
I think even if you did, it would just super sanitize it. And since it's bleach, you're gonna tighten this a little bit more.
So we've got our tank fill and bypass set. We're going to turn on the water at the pump, at the post. That's gonna force the water through the bleach hose. And now we're gonna turn on the valve. So we are inputting into the city white connection. This is the white connection.
And it'll eventually come back through this.
Right, it'll wash through this, and then it's gonna go up to the freshwater tank because we have it on tank fill. We have a little water meter here. It's upside down, but you can see that it's flowing water through there, 0.2 gallons, 0.3 gallons. So our tank is 70 gallons. Are you just gonna let it full till it comes out the overflow?
We can time it and then watch for the, like when we think it's about to overflow, and we'll just keep watching and then shut it right off.
Okay. So we've timed it out, and it looks like our water pressure here is filling at about 3 gallons per minute, so it'll take a little over 20 minutes to fill our whole freshwater tank. And don't forget, if you're doing this, guys, put on clothes that you don't mind getting a little bit of bleach stain on, because now Jason has a bleach spot on his brand new shirt. Luckily, it wasn't very expensive. All right, our water tank is full to overflowing, so we've shut off the hose. And now we're going to turn it from tank fill to pump, because inside the rig, we need to turn on the faucets to run the bleach water through the lines. We can't do that unless this is on pump.
And we're gonna leave it.
We still want to bypass the water heater, though. We don't want this water flowing through the water heater. And I'm also going to turn on the water pump here so that we can run the water through our faucets. Right. Also turn your hot water heater off. Since we're bypassing the water heater anyway, we don't want that accidentally trying to heat the water. I'm going to turn on... Not working. Now we're going to turn on all of the faucets until we can smell bleach coming out of here. And it's very faint. It's not like a harsh bleach smell. As soon as you smell it, then you can turn this off. Make sure you're turning on the cold water, not hot water.
You already did that one.
So we can smell the bleach. Now we're turning the faucets off, and that means all of the lines are now filled with bleach solution. We're going to do the same thing with the toilet spray hose and also the outside shower hose. We couldn't initially get the faucets to run with this on bypass, and we don't know if it's because there was air in the line or what, but we turned it to normal briefly to repressurize the system and get the water flowing, and then we turned it back to bypass. We're not really sure.
On bypass, the pump kept running though. We're not clear.
Yeah.
I don't know if this video will show up, but I'm gonna put on the video so we see it. We literally don't know what this bypass does. That's the problem with reading the internet.
Right.
And it may be a different thing.
Right, it might not be the water heater. I don't know.
So now this is working on normal. So we're probably putting, yeah, as long as we're not running the hot water, I think we're okay. I also don't think it matters greatly if this gets into the hot water system. It's just,
okay.
There we go. I can smell it now.
As long as we don't put our hot faucets on, it shouldn't overly run through there. So this video is ending up to be a little bit more trial and error than I intended, but at least you can see that there's different ways to do it. After your lines are full, your pipes are full, you're gonna turn this back to tank fill briefly and refill your freshwater tank so that it is full of bleach solution. You want it touching as much of the tank as possible.
But since we're refilling the tank, the freshwater tank. I want it on tank fill, and we're
Turn
gonna
on
run
the city water.
Run it from the city water.
So you can see the overflow valve is the white one on the left, and then to the right of that is the drain valve. So we're watching for water to come out the overflow pipe, and that's how we'll know the tank is full. And here it comes. All right, it's overflowing. You can shut it off. So now that all of the lines have solution in them and we have our valves in the right position, we're going to leave the whole system alone for 8 to 12 hours. Now, ideally, you would let this sit overnight. Last night we couldn't figure out how to do it. I'd rather do it in the daylight, and we're planning to be gone all day today. So we did this first thing in the morning. We're gonna let it sit all day while we're gone, and then tonight when we come home we will flush everything out. Okay, we are back from our day out, and the bleach has been sitting in the system now for about 9 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the valve in the wet bay over to pump, because now the tank is full and we need to use the water pump to pump the water out of it. So I'm going to turn on the water pump inside as well on the panel. We can hear that pressurizing. Okay, now I'm gonna go around and turn the faucets on because we need to empty out the bleach solution out of the tank, and it's gonna go down into the gray tank and out. Make sure your gray tank is open when you do this. It should always be open anyway, but if for some reason you have closed it, just make sure it's open so that everything can flush through your sewer system. All right, it took about 40 minutes for all of the water in the fresh tank to bleed out through the faucets. I had the kitchen, the bathroom sink open, the shower open. It took a long time. So now the tank is empty. I'm gonna turn this back to tank fill again, turn my hoses on, fill the fresh tank now with fresh water to clear out any remaining bleach, bleed the faucets again, and then hopefully we'll be done. Okay, fresh tank is full again. We are gonna turn this back to pump. I've turned the water source off. So now we've got a full fresh tank. We're gonna pump it out of the faucets one more time. Okay, we have flushed out the fresh water out of the fresh tank. I ran all the faucets again with just fresh water going through them, and it took another about 40-45 minutes. I cannot taste or smell any bleach smell in the faucets now, so I'm calling this good. Now, if you did do this and you still smelled a little bit of bleach or tasted bleach, what you can do is do the process again with vinegar. Pour 1 quart of vinegar into your water filter compartment like we did with the bleach. So pour 1 quart of vinegar in there, put about 5 to 10 gallons of water in your fresh tank, and then try to do it before a moving day maybe, because what you want to do is slosh that vinegar around in the tank. You could also hook up your truck to the RV and push it back and forth a little bit. I'm thankful that we didn't have to do any of that this time because all of the smell is gone. So the last step that we need to do is replace the water filter in the compartment in the wet bay, turn the water heater back on, and we are good to go. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, because obviously there are a lot of different ways that you can do this. We've tried to put together different resources that we found on Facebook and online and in the manuals and from the manufacturers, and tried to, at least for me, made a coherent list of the steps of how to sanitize your freshwater tank. So we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Good work.